order. Please stand and say the pledge with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We have you have any one, please? And thank you. Well, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right, first up is approval of the agenda. So anyone have any additions or corrections? Revisions?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. Go ahead, Ross.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bernard, second by Councilmember Allen to approve the agenda as printed. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, consent agenda. I have noticed just one error in the minutes from last meeting, and I asked Louise to fix those before the meeting, so. Sure, yeah, that's fine. We don't vote on water sewer this time, right? Or is that?
No, it's okay.
Second one, okay.
Oh, that's sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Renard to approve the consent agenda tonight. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. All right. Public comment. Can you grab the list for us since it's working? All right. Jackie, you're up.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, there are one and only.
My name is Jackie Lawrence. I'm with DBAC. I'm here to present the Sexual Assault Awareness Month proclamation, April. So whereas April is recognized nationwide as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, dedicated to increasing public awareness about sexual violence, supporting survivors, and promoting prevention efforts. And whereas sexual violence is a serious and widespread issue affecting individuals of all ages, all backgrounds, and all identities, often occurring alongside domestic violence and other forms of abuse. And whereas in Kansas, 977 incidents of sexual assault were reported in 2024, with one rape reported every 8 hours, 57 minutes, and 58 seconds, and law enforcement making one arrest for rape approximately every 2 days, 19 hours, 23 minutes, and 31 seconds. And whereas DBAC provides vital advocacy and support services to survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence throughout the region. And whereas from January through December of 2025, DBAC served 132 survivors of domestic violence across 19 counties who experienced sexual violence in their relationships as well, including but is not limited to 96 survivors from Sling County and 4 survivors from out of state, with 55 of those survivors receiving safe shelter services. And whereas DBAC also supported 89 survivors whose primary victimization was sexual assault across 12 counties, including but not limited to 63 survivors from Sling County and 2 survivors from out of state, with 21 of those survivors provided safe shelter services. Whereas these numbers do not just serve as a statistic, but represents individuals whose lives have been impacted by violence and who showed resilience, strength, and courage in their healing journeys. And whereas communities play a vital role in preventing sexual violence by fostering education, awareness, a culture of respect, while ensuring survivors have access to trauma-informed care and support. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed that DBAC recognizes April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. But let it further be proclaimed that all residents are encouraged to support survivors, promote prevention efforts, and work collectively to end sexual violence in our community.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah. I can come sign before we get a picture.
Absolutely.
Three.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Good to see you too. Have a good night, y'all.
Thank you. Now, she did mention Saline County a lot, but Ellsworth County is in its catchment area, so if you know anyone that needs services, please encourage them to contact DBAC. There are regional support centers. Okay. I guess last call for public comment. Okay, let's move on to unfinished business. Approval of the establishing document for the Ellsworth Municipal Golf Course Clubhouse Endowment Fund.
Looks like I'm gonna yell out, I'll look at it. Madam Mayor and council members, talked about this a year or two ago. Had a gift given to the golf course for clubhouse only improvements. Have no need right now, we're talking about the endowment fund, of course, working with the endowment fund. They're gonna put in $2,000 along with the Dane Hansen, so the $10,000 will become 14,000 like this, okay? That $14,000 is in we can't touch it, just touch the interest of it. And, grow at 5%, I can't what the radio told us it basically grows, but then we'll have that money to use down the road. So, great place to put the money, and there'll be all the publication, the publicity on this later on. Of course, it's a way to keep a gift in forever and to keep a legacy going. So, this is basically, we discussed doing it, but this, gives the mayor authority to sign the formal documents.
Madam Mayor, I would move to authorize the mayor to sign the establishing document of the Ellsworth Municipal Golf Course Clubhouse Endowment Fund with the Smoky Hills Community Foundation.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Councilmember Moon, seconded by Councilmember Renard, to authorize the mayor to sign the establishing document for the Ellsworth Municipal Golf Course Clubhouse Endowment Fund with the Smoky Hills Community Foundation. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, next up, repair of 2022 Ford Utility Police Interceptor.
Good evening. So we took the police interceptor to Nightingale, as suggested. They came with the same conclusion, they can replace the transmission, it'd be an OEM transmission, Ford transmission for, over 5,000, just under 5,500. They've offered a 3-year warranty, we through any Ford dealership can do it. So, I mean, that's an awesome option there. Like, Long did, they said 8,000 for theirs. So there's some options there. We can either do the replacement transmission, or we can go with a fleet vehicle from KHB, so.
Is there
I like the 5480.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since we know you need to buy it here soon, so.
We do, but we do have an option that's on the injured list right now, and we're gonna wait on that one now. I mean, there's no sense in buying on the vehicle at this point, you have it set. We did find out even the vehicle set, the gremlins come out of that one, so now we're taking that vehicle. I had those gremlins worked out here and there, so I'd kind of like to wait on that purchase until we get that vehicle, that person off the injured list and back to full staff.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I move to authorize the replacement of the transmission in the 2022 Ford Utility Police Interceptor with an OEM Ford transmission from Nightingale Transmission not to exceed the amount of $5,480.43.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, second by Council President Hansen, to authorize the replacement of the transmission in the 2022 Ford Utility Police Interceptor with an OEM Ford transmission from Nightingale Transmission not to exceed the amount of $5,480.43. Any discussion?
just a question? The warranty on this work, on the transmission, is there one?
3 years?
3 years?
Will be after they install this transmission.
Okay.
There is no warranty for them to put this transmission in, it's not being done by a dealership.
Okay.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Okay. Buckle up, sewer rates.
Madam Mayor and council members, of course, the topic you all want to avoid, but have no choice, we have to look at it. Last year we did increase the sewer rates after about 6 years without any increase, and there was a multiple increase in 2017, 2018, 2019. Was inflation factor that hit also, but also, as everybody knows, we have a $10 million project staring us in the face. We're gonna get $2 million loan forgiveness, but still basically your annual payments are gonna be $500,000 a year. And to make $500,000 a year, you gotta create about $38,000 a month revenue, and you have 1,100 meters in town, give or take, and do the math there, guys. We did one rate increase last year on the surface. Now, again, I want to talk about tonight and next, but then, as I mentioned last meeting, there's an ordinance at the May 11th meeting and put it in effect with the July, I think it's July billing. So long process, allow public to comment if they want to comment about it. My suggestion right now is going to be a 20% increase. And I put some numbers in my packet there a little bit. Right pages here. I had it here, so where to go now?
On 134. Oh, you have it printed out.
Have it out here.
It was that last page and.
There we go. Yes, it's all mixed up very. Yeah, and right now, 3,000 gallon water user per month. Was 41.72, and with 20%, he would go to $50.05. And as a 3,000 to 5,000, of course, would go from 51.66 to 61.97. I suggest doing a 20% now. Again, there's one thing I want to talk about yet. The other thing I want to talk about is how we create our minimum charge per month. We base it here, some other cities do as well, a minimum charge based on the water meter size. We have minimum charges based on water meter size for the water department because that includes the meter. Well, a 5/8 meter costs a whole lot less than a 3-inch meter. And a 3-inch meter costs less than a 6-inch meter, so there's more cost to maintain, so that's why you have a higher rate. On the sewer, there is no meter. It leaves the building, goes out of your location, and goes to the sewer line. And so that's maybe one thing I want to look at before we get to finalize here, is our said minimum fees here. As you know, last year, sewer, there's a minimum fee, and then the rest, then there's a per gallon fee. And it used to be you included some gallons in your minimum fee. And I explained last year the reason why that's probably not a good idea. And again, how to generate revenue. In all essence, we probably should go to war. I don't want to do that this time. The good part about it is it looks like right now, the first billing that we will get to repay that loan will probably be in maybe 28, but more likely in 29. So we have some room to ramp up into it. The other thing to do is just say, let's don't do nothing and let everybody else worry about it in 2 years and somebody walk away and don't worry about it. That's not good business either. So we can get it because there's other surprises we do in this community. I would love to get a situation where we could start doing some televising of our sewer lines because we know we have problems out there. But how do you identify them? Which identify them, then how do you budget to get to that point? You know, same thing on the water side. We need to start getting programs to replace $50,000 of the water lines a year, but you have to get there gradually. And so you can't do it overnight. And so it's just kind of the move there. So that's kind of where I'm at right now on this year's at 20%. It seems like a lot. I know that. And on the larger business, it will be a lot. On residential, it's basically $10 a month. And that's fairly close, We'll do some more analysis of it, but again, we'll get it out there to the public. We'll talk about it next time. And then the first meeting in May, we'll have an ordinance to look at.
So what, if we jack at 20, what's the next year? What do we go on
I
in?
don't know. I
Could
think,
it be more or
yeah,
less?
who knows?
We don't know.
I think, oh, he could, I'd say right there 20,
Another 20.
but I want to do it all at once, and this gives us time to make sure we have the funds and grow it.
Yeah.
What also happened is we have a combined fund, we were going to split last year, we did, and maybe we need to do it anyhow. I believe your water was paying for your sewer.
I think it
You
was.
had let the sewer rates got so low. And the water was paying for it, so you sucked money out of the total fund. But the sewer couldn't keep it up. So we're all playing catch up as well. I know a lot of people, it's gonna get in the paper, and we're gonna raise rates and everything else, and everybody gets excited about that. But bottom line is, similar communities, I went to the south of here, Alliance, did a rate increase somewhat similar to a few year period because their costs, and ironically, and I used my comparison to say, to manage, the cost per meter to pay the debt is about $35 a meter. The difference was I have 10% less meters I had up there, but I also had a project that was costing 10 times more too. So it's amazing how those numbers really come out. Like it or not, I think we're gonna see today where the average bill for a household residential water and sewer is gonna be closer to $150 to $200. It's the way it's gonna be. And again, he made comparisons. I mean, everybody's complaining about water, but I don't know why I paid for this. And it's more we sell water for it. And we did it for convenience and everything else. I get that. But those are relative costs, and we gotta pay the bills. And like I said, we have this loan coming up. I don't want to guess what the next rate increase would be. I think it's going to take time of an adjustment, but we have a little room to play here. I wish we had more room to play, but we don't. But the former city I was in, they had about an 8-year run into the project. So they did 6-8% increases. City Hayes one time did a project and they raised rates like 50% one year, 50% the next year, which I always argue is going, oh my God, just pull the Band-Aid off. But I also say, just every year, you get that much, you get complaints every year, so there's no magic. There is no magic to it. It's being fiscally responsible. I think responsible is going the route that I'm suggesting. I really think, because it's an increase, money budget, I get all that. And even for our commercial customers and everything else, you have to find that happy medium in there. So I think we're, it gets us moving. Gives time for analysis before you make a next adjustment. So that's where I'm at right now. Maybe I'll bring more next month, but again, I like making these 3-part processes because somebody says, well, you surprised us by doing this. No, we had a 3 council agenda before we had an ordinance.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for the public to have, because I think you can listen to discussion. The problem is how you gonna make stuff?
Yeah.
And like it or not, it comes down to rates. The city give money away to other funds over the years of water and wastewater. I don't care. I can't fix that. I can't change that. You base it on what you have today and how do you operate in the future. So. Unless there's any questions, I'll just keep moving ahead. We'll keep developing the process.
Sounds good.
I feel like something that I get the most comments about is our water and sewer rates. So I think there's gonna be some sticker shock and some backlash, but I agree completely with what you're saying. We can't change the past. But we need to do our jobs to educate the people and the general public, why we're doing this, how it's gonna benefit them.
I always say water rates are based on the water God gave you. If you live in Western Kansas, like I made my first city, our water rates were extremely cheap. Because all you do is have a water plant, you pull it out of the well, you splash some chlorine in there. We were all Ogallala wells, our poor wells were 900 gallons a minute. I mean, just, you have water. Then I moved to Hoisington, where I had to pipe my water 10 miles from the West Walnut north of Great Bend. And I have more cost because I had 10 miles of transmission line to pay for it. And had to replace it one time. And then I moved to an RO plant, and you haven't lived until you live in a surface water plant. And the costs are even higher yet. And even though we're a groundwater plant, we do our job with some of the surface water because our wells are too close to the river. Under the influence, that you call that. And then, wastewater depends on where you're at here. everybody always felt that lagoons are the easy way out. As we find out, our lagoons have been in the ground for 45 years, and now we have smell problems and everything else we get complaints of. And you address it by making the lagoons larger. There's a lot of questions we had there as going design, but it's just the cost of doing business, and you gotta do it because we can't dump stuff down the river anymore because we worry about our environment and we wouldn't want that coming to this community either, so. There's a whole stack there.
I also believe that another education process on all of this is for individuals to take a tour of the water plant and the sewer facility to understand where monies are going and to demystify just the talking that we're doing here around the table. If people were able to go hands-on, coordinated with Dave, I guess they'd have a better understanding of what this rate increase is all about. It's not just talk and let's have more money.
One thing that I don't have in this meeting, it'll be next agenda, is we'll have discussion next time about making an application for the KDC money for a water project for well replacement. We've been talking about, the window's open right now to get our foot to the door.
All right, let's move on to new business, 2025 audit report.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Danielle Hollingshire. I'm the Bureau new. So, I'm with Adams Brown. I've been with the firm for 15 years, over 15 years. And I go through this really fast. So hopefully you all had a chance to read through it. I know it was in the packet, so I won't go through every page by any means. I'll just touch on the highlight. And if you have any questions, stop me. The first thing I'll go over is which one do you have first? That one, okay, perfect. The governance letter, this is just to let you know how the audit went. If we had any difficulties encountered trying to perform the audit, it would be noted in here. Any disagreements with management, we didn't have either. There were no changes to our original risk assessment. We based that mainly off of last year and then anything that we know of that had occurred during the year. So no changes to our risk assessment. So on the page 3, this is where our audit recommendations are listed out. And again, I'm not going to read through each one of these because the top 4 are actually from the prior year. And they're a work in process. So they are working on them. Obviously, there's been some changes. Just reiterate, you guys have a small city, so anything you can put in place for internal controls to make sure there's some division there. The employee handbook has been a work in process for several years, so that's still up on the to-do list. And then the last one is encumbrances are important to be recorded at the end of the year to make sure your budget is being accurately looked at. And there were 2 items in the minutes that got approved during the year that didn't get paid. And so if those are not going to be paid out, they need to be canceled or they need to be reported. So 2 of them were missed at the end of the year. And then on page 4, just the segregation of duties that we have in the past, this is still considered a significant deficiency. And that's just due to overlapping of some of the processes that take place. You have to have a different person for each of those accounting transactions. And so we have some overlapping on some of those. So we're getting closer to having segregation. I think adding the payroll to HR, that's helped for sure. But still just a deficiency to watch and make sure as council that you're staying at less. Then I'll jump into the audit report. And page 1, 2, and 3. At the very beginning of the audit report is where we give our opinion on the financial statement and we give you an adverse opinion on generally accepted accounting principles. You guys waive GAAP every year, so we basically state we don't give you an opinion on that. And instead we give you an unmodified opinion on regulatory basis of accounting. That is the highest can receive. Basically stating these financials we believe are presented fairly and
You don't want to do GAAP unless you have to.
yes.
Trust me.
Yeah, he's not wrong. You would need more accounting staff for sure. We then go into responsibilities of management and auditors' responsibilities. Just a reminder to read through that so you understand what this audit report is and what we are actually doing as the auditors. On page 4 is the financial statement that we issued that opinion on. a one-page statement. The city pools all their cash into multiple funds. And at the end of the year, you ended with an unencumbered cash balance of 3.4 million. This is a slight decrease of 191,000 over the prior year. But I do want to point out, without going into every individual fund, that the biggest decrease is because you paid off temp notes of 810,000. So, while overall it went down 191, if you look at each individual fund, you did have slight increases. The next several pages are the notes to the financial statement, and it goes through the city's accounting policies. If we had any statute violations, we would note them in the notes. We do look at about 8 to 10 pages of Kansas statutes that the city has to follow. There were no violations during the year. So then I'm gonna have you flip over to the long-term debt schedule, which is on page 13. Just to point out again, you did pay off the series 2015, and A and B, and you also paid off the series 2011 10 bond. At the end of the year, you are down to 4.5 million. However, that doesn't include the KDA2 loan that you did technically sign into, but have not taken anything out yet, so. And those are expected to be paid off in 2041 without that project. Page 14 is just an actual to budget schedule. If you had a budget violation, we would note it here. You were on your budget on all your funds. And then we get into each individual fund, just showing an actual to budget as well as the prior year. This just helps you see more detail and let you know comparative to what happened during the year and to last year. I don't think I'm going through any of the individual funds, but if you have one that you'd like to dig deep into, let me know and flip over to that page.
You put the water and wastewater real quick.
Yeah, it's on page 31. I did have it marked, but then you talked about it, so. So at the end of the year, one of the things I do look at always is utilities. We like to see that those are in the positive, and if they're not, make sure you're not transferring out too much. Sometimes the transfers can cause issues. You guys only transfer to your depreciation and improvement fund, so you're not transferring it to fulfill other operations. At the end of the year, you had a positive increase of 154,000. So you did have a slight increase in sales over the prior year. but-
Did that rate increase in July too?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what you want to follow in subsequent years now.
yeah. So you want to continue to see a trend upward with that, or that you're transferring it out into the reserve so you have it ready. And then the other two business funds, your solid waste fund, you're slightly under, but you really want to just break even basically on that fund. So I'd say you're pretty close to being exact on that fund, which is on page 34. And then your stormwater utility, you've had some additional capital outlay this year. So it wasn't operating positive, but you don't always have capital outlay in that fund. Something to watch though for fees to make sure. I don't know your improvement or what infrastructure improvements you need, but right now, that was the first year that you went negative, so. Any questions? Question for Danielle? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We just need a motion
Yes.
to approve the audit as presented.
Madam Mayor, I move that the audit report for the city of Ellsworth for the year ended on December 31st, 2025 be accepted and authorized and authorize the mayor and council president to sign the management representation.
Second that.
All right, it's been moved by Council President Hanson, seconded by Councilmember Renard to approve the audit report for the city of Ellsworth for the year ending December 31, 2025, and be accepted and authorize the mayor and council president to sign the management representation under this document. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So what's that?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, next up is Next Tech proposal for additional warranty and managed IT charges.
Next tag here. Presentation.
I'm Jimmy Olmsted. I'm an account executive for Next Tech. I've been with Next Tech for 21 years. I work out of the Solana office. So Alan asked me to be here to see if I can help with some of the questions and
But he's new to us.
new to you guys.
I met him the first time I've met him, so. You know, basically, we've had some issues with billings. We got a proposal put in the packet about some additional firewall or some warranties on servers.
First proposal that the outright proposal is the warranties on 2 of the servers that you have for 2 years. And then the firewalls for 3 of the firewalls for 3 years of services. So basically 3 firewalls for 3 years, and then you had 2 years of warranties on your servers. You have 2 physical servers.
And we have other firewalls that are not included here, right?
Correct. So the monthly agreement that is attached to there for $540, that was a mistake by us that we did not include that in your managed IT agreement when they did it. I think you guys did it at the end of last year, 2025. And there was 5 firewall agreements that were missed on the management of those. So you have basically 2 that were accounted for, and you have 5 other ones that are out there.
So basically, this building is for $9,652.75.
And that is for the warranties for the
Yes.
2 servers and the,
Firewalls.
yeah.
And then the additional $450 a month is for the firewall.
Is for the management of 5 firewalls that was missed as a mistake that we made.
Where are the 5 firewalls located?
They are, you have firewalls at PD, City Hall, Fire. You were gonna ask me that. Golf course, Water Department, Recreation, Street Department.
And we own the servers, right?
Yes. You own the servers and so on our managed IT agreement, you basically, on the agreement, we need to make sure that we're always kept up with all the warranties and everything for the life of the agreement, whether it be a firewall or a server. Definitely need to keep those warranties up to date.
And we weren't getting billed for some of them, is that what you're saying, or what's going
Yes,
on? Okay.
yes, that's exactly right.
So this wasn't included in the proposal that we signed off on back in November.
Yes, there was a mistake made for the $450 mistake was that we did not account for 5 of the firewalls to be managed. So yes, that,
So any of the firewall stuff lapsed licensing?
no. The other proposal that is around $10,000, that is for the services that are getting ready to expire. So no, nothing has lapsed at this point. We're good.
But we still have more firewalls coming in too.
Yes, so in mid-July, 4 of the firewalls will need services updated for 3 years of services. The thing that we're looking at is that, I think you guys work with Jason Bauer a lot. He's been a service technician for you guys. Some of the areas that we could definitely talk about is, whether do you need firewalls? Maybe there's different ways of doing it. You guys, I know, just moved to our managed Office 365. Maybe there's some different stuff that we can do to maybe eliminate a firewall, let's say at the golf course. I'm just bringing that up. I'm not saying that, because I know right now you use that firewall to VPN into your servers. Maybe you could do that a different way. It's something to consider, to look at, and we would be happy to work with you guys on that, if you guys are interested in looking at that. So, but as of right now, you have 7 firewalls throughout the city.
I heard you say services to be updated. Would that be additional funds, or is that part of what we're talking about now?
So in mid-July, 4 more of your firewalls will need 3 years of services. So there'll be, so I'd say that, that would be a proposal for, don't hold me to it, but let's say $7,000 or around there to update those other 4 firewalls so to make sure they have 3 years of services updated on them. They just happen to be, when we did this deal about 36 months ago, we basically did 3 of them, and then we waited about 4 months later and did 4 more. And that's what's caused the warranties or whatever not exactly matched up. So
Are these updates, are these firmware updates?
Yes, updates, yeah, I mean, and you definitely want to do that on a firewall. If you have, I mean, firewall's not gonna do you any good if you have non-updated services. I mean, basically, yeah, you're gonna let the bad guys,
So we haven't fallen out of compliance like the CGIS or anybody.
no, don't, you're good there.
Could you tell us again where those firewalls are, please?
They are the golf course, water department, recreation, street department, PD, city hall, fire.
Thank you.
And our servers are.
Servers sit at, city and PD. Yeah, two servers.
Is there any way to get them all on the same rotation?
It's something probably not on this particular rotation but in 3 more years, 100%, that is what we definitely want to do. We want to make sure everything comes due. This is kind of staggered a little bit, which I've had a few accounts that have been cities that I've worked with throughout in counties. And yeah, we will try to make that to where it's one agreement or try to co-term everything where it all comes due at the same time. But it doesn't always work out that way, so that's why sometimes you gotta do it this way.
Do you have any idea what life expectancy is on our servers?
I'd say with this additional 2 years, that's why it's only 2 years, not 3 years. I'd say that's something you definitely, we need to be talking to you guys here in probably about a year. We need to have a plan to try to upgrade that hardware, because that hardware will be, in 2 years, need to be replaced on that part of it. And that's why I brought up, I mean, you guys are now a managed Office 365 account, which you guys, I don't want to get technical, but there's a thing called SharePoint that you can store a lot of your data on SharePoint like a server, but I mean, obviously you're a city, so you have other stuff that needs to be housed on servers, like certain software has to be housed on a physical server and that part of it. But maybe we don't need as much horsepower on those servers. Maybe, we can downsize them or do something like that. That's something that the technical team needs to look at and work with you guys on, Definitely don't want to leave you where people can't do their job, so.
And, he's here this evening because we just have problems with their salesperson that we're getting the straight answer 2 meetings in a row and just a lot of problems, and they are addressed that, and I appreciate that.
So the money is there now for the cover this?
Yeah, I mean, there's never enough, but I mean, yeah, we do have money for things, and we do have to have them.
Right.
Again, I think the gap is a concern we had, and then not being, And when I look back at the bill now, I mean, they're both back in December, or November, it only says 2 on there, but none of us thought about, because we are not IT staff, we depend them to be the IT.
Well, we'll take the blame. I mean, it's not your guys' fault, it's our fault, so we definitely are taking the blame. I mean, we missed it, so, I mean, it needed to be 7, not 2, so. On that part, so.
I mean, I don't think we have a choice.
No, I think we need to do it.
Charity bridge with payment.
So do you have any idea, just looking down the road, do we need to be thinking ahead about how much we need to save up for these servers we're gonna be needing? Or is that?
Definitely, and it's probably don't want to try to buy a server right now. Ram's gone up from, I had one that was used to be $3,000, it's now $15,000. You can think that on like AI's caused server RAM to go through the roof. So it's very, very expensive right now. So maybe a good time to wait a year, maybe that goes down, hopefully it will. So it's definitely put a lot of people in some binds on that part of it. So there's even people now not buying physical servers, they're using, we do have a product that you can use, you basically are using stuff off-site. I mean, you don't even have a physical server on-site, you're using another data center for your servers, to house your servers. So just a little different way of doing business, but it would be definitely something you guys could consider.
So if you went off-site, then that would be, you would package updates in your proposal.
Yeah, you're basically,
Responsible.
you're housing, you're basically using a huge data center and you're basically storing your servers in there and there's now with the force of this server price or the RAM price and all that going up, that's definitely something that people are looking at. So that part.
Cool.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the added agreements to Next Tech for servers and firewalls at a cost of $9,652.75 and additional managed IT services at a cost of $450 per month.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, second by Council President Hansen, to approve the added agreements to Next Tech for servers and firewalls at a cost of $9,652.75 and additional managed IT services at a cost of $450 per month. Any further discussion, any more questions for the committee? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you so much for being here.
Brandon, thank you, almost time. Yeah, I'm gonna give you my card when I leave here, so.
So you have it. And like maybe sometime. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna be here tomorrow, doing some stuff, so
Sounds good.
I'll peek in. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, ordinance number 3181, amending the city code to repeal and replace ordinance number 2895 and number 3125, ordinances establishing an insurance proceeds fund.
Madam Mayor and Council, as far back as 2001, maybe before that, I couldn't find the predecessor to it. The city's had a ordinance in place, state statute allows it, that if you lose a building, insured building that's lost by fire, explosion or wind, let's say you had $100,000 building, 15% of the insurance proceed goes to the city, with 85% going to the insured. And when the insured takes care of the building, either get rid of it, remodels it, rebuilds into it, that 15% plus any accrued interest goes back to the person. So city makes no money. It's always, everybody gets confused here. If the person doesn't do it, the city can then start to unsafe or dangerous building structures and force it to be torn down. In this case, the cost to tear down would be about those insurance proceeds and the interest. If there's money left over, that goes back to the insured as well. I'm a big believer in this ordinance. In fact, before, I believe in '99 or early 2000, before that, there was a state statute in place where you could have a 10% fire insurance proceeds not to exceed $5,000. And that was just for fire. Yeah, that was just only for fire. Then they added the wind in late 1999. Luckily, of course, everybody knows that I was city manager in Houston during a tornado. We had 190 some structures that were destroyed, and we had millions of dollars in insurance proceeds come in. The good and positive side is the city did not have to deal with tearing down structures. Because trust me, when an insurance adjuster comes to your house and says, you lost your house and it's worth $100,000. Tyler, here's your check for $85,000. You're gonna go, what the? It's gone. There's nothing left. And the city has there $15,000. Well, after Tyler says some words, he's gonna go take care of his problem. The
See,
city.
this guy's house wasn't total loss.
Well, that's a different
So
story.
how's,
Let's
yeah,
let's go to that next one.
okay.
We're gonna, and then in 2022, the city, so we have money it gets taken care of, okay? In 2022, the city, for whatever reason, changed the ordinance. I don't know why. But when they did it, they made a change in there. We don't get insurance proceeds unless it's 70% or more damaged and it's of insured value. So if you have insured for 100,000, but it's a $200,000 building, that's where some of the rub comes in place at times. But it gets taken care of. Likewise, in Houston, like I said before, we ended up having to deal about 4 houses in town and they were all non-insured. Well, most houses are insured because one, you have a lien on it. And then secondly, everyone wants to protect their investments. And so you have a problem. Greensburg, on the other hand, had the ordinance in place, but they dropped it. 6 months after the tornado, they were still dealing with houses all over town. Nobody wants to build back if there's other houses in the neighborhood that have been congested. And I always said back in 2001, that I would go to every city council in the state of Kansas to have insurance procedure, because I think it's such an important tool you have. Is making people responsible for their property. That is what it does. And the problem was the ordinance in 2022 says it kicks in at 50%. No, state law says 70, why it was 50, I have no idea. This basically corrects that, and that's it. The other add-on we put in here is in, I believe, 2017, 2018, the state allowed it to cover, to put the wording of all insured losses. So if there be a flood insurance case here, that be covered as well. So it started with fire in the late 90s, early 2000s, we added wind. Now you're adding all insured losses. And again, I think there was to have, because it doesn't put the burden on the rest of the people in town, taxpayers, to pay to clean up a problem. And I know Greensburg had a problem, and even the governor at that time, she made the comment that, oh, we'll help take care of it. Well, they didn't, and, the problem is to tear down a house, the city can't tear it down, even after a tornado. Everybody thought we were gonna knock houses down next week. No, we can knock your house down, but we're gonna go through a process that includes publications and hearings. It's, as you all know, it's a 4 to 6 month process. And trust me, after a tornado, you wanna get your town cleaned up, because you don't build back until you clean it up first. It sounds so simple, but it's not. And I just think we just need to put this in place, but all this basically is change language that was mistakenly made in 2022. Plus it does have basically all insured losses, which include floodplain.
Madam Mayor, I think Mr. Dinkle has explained that quite thoroughly. And I'm going to move to adopt the ordinance number 3181, amending the city codes to repeal and replace the ordinance number 2895 and 3124 ordinances establishing insurance proceeds funds.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Moon, second by Council President Hansen. Where did that go?
To adopt ordinance.
Come on. There we go. To adopt ordinance number 3181, amending the city codes to repeal and replace ordinance number 2895 and number 3124, ordinances establishing an insurance proceeds fund. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. So unsafe or dangerous structure at 1402 Gay Street.
Hello,
Hello.
on December 31st of last year, there's a fire department responded to a fire at 1402 Gay Street. It caused major damage, and as of right now, it can be considered a dangerous structure because it's uninhabitable. It burns a hole up through the center of the main floor. And in order that what he was just going over, I have to send out a letter to the owner within 30 days if we're gonna hold on to that 15%. So I sent that letter out to him so we can consider this a dangerous structure. You can do a resolution to have a public hearing for a dangerous structure. That way, if he doesn't take care of it, it'll already be a condemned structure.
Let me explain this one a little here. This gets a little confusing. Okay, this had insurance proceeds on it. The city received a check for 15%. And it was, if you take 15% and do the divisional math, it is about the amount that the county had appraised for. So, again, is the building worth more? I don't know, but the insurance company paid off, the policy. And then, of course, we have 15% of it down. So let's just, well, how about we just wait? Well, first of all, if you have this ordinance, the insurance proceeds in place, which we did, you need to start a process. If you want to give this person after having a hearing and declare it unsafe or dangerous, if you want to give him 6 months or a year, you can do it as council. But it also keeps them the ball moving rather than good. As I mentioned in my agenda packet for the other topic before, you had a house in this community a few years ago. Well, be 10 years ago, that's back when Tim was city administrator. That he gave the money back and the house has not been completed. So now you have a house in a part of town That doesn't look good. And,
Or over here.
oh, it's on, Sixth Street. South side. It has wrap on it, so it's been had wrap on for I don't know how many years now. And again, it's how do you protect your neighborhoods, and if you live across the street from it. And I think that's always the important thing, so, you know, this is starting, get this guy safe house, I'm not saying you can or can't. But this basically puts in process, because he needs to, and if you wanna give him a year to fix it, or 6 months, whatever the case may be. But you need to declare it as an unsafe or dangerous structure, and you start by having a hearing, and the hearing date would be on June. Right, so it should do, I think so.
June,
June 8th, yeah, and he has a right to come to the council then. And to say, here, I don't think it is, you know, and you can say, yeah, and Delvin's gonna give reasons why he thinks it is, and then you make decisions that go from there. So I think it starts the process in place, and I think that's the important thing to do, is to get the process going, because you have a process, use it. And what scares me, when you don't do that and you try to get away from it, because you have to figure the billing. If we have other fires, you say, well, it's faster here, well, you didn't treat it like that guy there, so. I always say be consistent in what you do. You have an ordinance place, use it. If you want to give time and allow windows of improvement, I think those are all great. But again, you know, this is maybe, and you can make the argument, it's in a neighborhood that maybe doesn't have the different quality house. But you're gonna treat the house in that part of town the same way. And that's the things you have to think about, and the consistency of city government.
So it basically it's gonna need to be torn down.
Oh, that's your person.
But how much, I mean, I talked to him, he said maybe 10 months, it was taking.
Okay, after you have the hearing, and if he does that, you can put that in your ordinance. A resolution every year, you could have, I'll say damage structure, but you're allowing a 6 month or 8 month or a 9 month, 10 month period to repair the building.
Yeah,
This way you start the process.
yes, I know that, he started, then you take the 7, I mean, I see that you gotta have the money,
Yeah.
but when it's not a total loss.
It
How
is-
do you,
it was a total insured loss.
well, he told me he could have, it wasn't, like, if it would have burned down, he'd have got a hell of a lot more money. From his insurance. He didn't.
I don't know.
I mean, he told me that flat out.
He said, I took the amount we got. I took the amount we got divided by 15%, and I come up with a value that's slightly higher than the county purchase.
Well, I mean, if we give them time to do it, if they're gonna do it, but if the house is burnt to the ground, yeah, I could see nobody probably would build it. Cause they wouldn't be able to build a house there anyway with our ordinances we got, you couldn't put one back in that lot anyway.
What's big enough, isn't it?
What's that lot and that ain't no
Yeah, so
6,000.
you can't even build a house back
So you
if you
keep it-
burn a house down, which we need to look into that because that ain't right. No, that's horrible.
That's
You
great.
couldn't even build a house, but we need to change something.
I mean, go through something.
You know, yeah, because you live on a tiny lot, your house burnt, you can't even build there. You can't build back. The lot's too small.
down.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even build your house back if you wanted to.
Not with the way the setbacks are, depending on, if you're on a corner, you're really in trouble.
Yeah, you just gotta move, basically.
No, and you're right, we do need to
We need to look
address
into
that,
that.
because right now, if there was property on there taxed,
Exactly.
right now, it is just chasing people around to get it mowed.
To get it mowed, I know. But yeah, the process we gotta follow. I mean, we need to do that. We need to get it that
So
way.
we probably need to go ahead and get
Have the
this.
hearing.
Yeah.
Hearing.
Yeah.
How much of that you gotta read?
It's very short.
Oh, that, I was looking at that, I thought, man, I'd be wore out with that. I moved to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign resolution 2026-10. I'll second.
Been moved by Councilmember Bishop, seconded by Councilmember Allen, to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign resolution 2026-10. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thanks, Delvin.
You're welcome.
Approval to apply for grant. Well, here we go.
Hello. No, just,
we're gonna apply to Dane Hanson with your permission to replace those south windows on my shop side, stone seals and paint those beams that are in the gym. So.
Madam Mayor, I move to allow the Recreation Department to apply for the grant from the Dane Hanson Foundation in the amount of $31,251.63.
I'll second.
Right, it's been
There you
moved,
go, Lonnie.
it's been moved by Councilmember Allen, second by Councilmember Moon, to allow the Recreation Department to apply for the grant from the Dane G. Hanson Foundation for the amount of $31,251.63. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Good luck. Okay, you're up next again. Tell us what you got.
Well, hopefully, I have that engineering firm come down and take a look at the canvas. There's a lot of information in there, but basically in a nutshell, 7 of the 12 poles were they rejected that needed to be replaced in a year. It was their recommendation. So there was shell rod. You know, there's many other things that was in the packet that they had mentioned. So kind of what we thought, but now we know for sure what they are. So yes. Next step is.
What are the options? I mean, I know it'd be great to go with metal poles and all LED lighting and everything else. Well, what are the options that the council could consider? Of course, we have to find
I
whether.
knew you were gonna ask me that, so. We go back to a 55-foot wood pole. And the current lights we have on them now. You can go. You know, you can just replace the pole we need to replace. All 6 poles on the baseball field were rejected and just 1 on the softball field. So, or you can go back, replace, do 55-foot poles and do LED lighting on the 55-foot pole, but they recommend not to do LED lights on that because the glare will be so bad. The poles aren't high enough. And I know that basically the lighting people I talk to, of course, they're salesmen, so they don't even want to mess with the 55-foot pole. And so, I mean, not that the one outfit, Musco Lighting, they put lights up everywhere, but like I said, there's a local person up in Beloit that I'd rather deal with anyway, but I just know they would rather, sell you the steel pole and their lighting system, because that's what they do.
Could we get a bid on doing 755s and see what that would cost?
We can,
I mean, just so we kind of know what we're looking at on dollars.
I don't remember what the one pole cost us here a few years ago that the wind blew over.
We said that one. Yeah. I don't either.
One option we have coming up is, and I'm still waiting, I was gonna say my comments at the end of the meeting. But, we'll give some additional costs from different engineer firm on the 3rd Street Bridge. Up to Skip Park or Culvert, Box Culvert. And can we tie a package of financing there? Maybe, and I have had some talks with Kevin about that, Mr. Cowan about that, so possible to look at. And of course, the bottom line is how to pay for it afterwards, because actually here in my report tonight, also we'll talk about the state legislature and their property tax bills last week that may or may not get signed by the governor. And what it puts on us as well. And of course, we got the other things going on, we got these in fire and police and everything else, and how do you get that to balance out? That's what the important part's gonna be.
Something else to think about too, about 55-foot pole and you stay with our lighting system. I know those light bulbs are getting harder to find. So they're just don't make them anymore. Or they do, they're just set hard to find.
Recommendation 7, but the current standard is like 75.
Yeah, 70 above ground, yeah.
So there'll be 90-foot poles in it.
They say that 10 or 12
That's all.
needs to be in the ground.
That's all. Okay.
So, so given the conditions of the poles now, what was the recommendation for activity out there?
Well, they just said it just need to be replaced within a year was their recommendation, so.
So again, my thinking is if we have games going, are they in such shape that they could actually collapse?
Hopefully we wouldn't have games going on during that kind of conditions, you know. Now, they can't, I mean. What's the likelihood of the pole just,
Rotting off and falling those, there's nothing holding them up, so they could just.
yeah,
I mean, you think about it, I
There's no
mean,
overhead wire, so yeah, they could just
but I
fall.
mean, what's the wind doing today?
Yeah,
There's
Again,
games going on out there.
again,
Now, I get it's blowing mile an hour, you're talking. I can't say that
right,
20, 30 mile an hour wind can't blow one of them over.
but you're not gonna get him in this year anyhow. You're not gonna get him in this year, I mean, unless,
Oh, no, I
no,
know that.
it's not gonna happen, so. I think we get through, we're gonna get through this year, but. What Ron wants to do is, you know, get a plan, because, you know, that'd be a project for October through April to get done. They have ready for next ball season, yeah, you're not gonna. You're not getting new poles tomorrow, you know. Yeah,
that's clear.
yeah. But you also gotta find a way to get them paid for and develop that process there.
that's why I'd like to see a price on 755, at least they're gonna be new, and they're not gonna fall, so they can be done. I mean, that would be, we know they're bad, that's the thing, you know they're bad.
Well, I'm glad you did recommend to the council to,
Yeah,
we have it tested, because that way anybody in the public will say, well, you're just replacing for replacement sake. No, you
no,
didn't.
they
Yeah,
need to be done.
And that's why when Ron says, watch, I put the packet, I says, put it all in there. That way somebody says, I didn't know about it, just go online and look at the packet. We are not hiding nothing, you know.
You don't want to do that.
No, and we, you know.
Okay.
I think.
Great, thanks, Romney.
Thanks.
Street closure permit for Lang's Acre Bar and Grill. Chad, you wanna come on up?
Got a no insurance, he's legit.
Good evening, I'm Chad Lang, owner of Lang's Acre Bar and Grill. I applied for a permit for street closure on April 16th, 2026 from First Street to the alley just west of the building, for the alley and First Street to still remain open for traffic flow. So to just be right in front of our building, basically, for a street dance concert. So I was just gonna go for you to see if you had any questions or needed anything else from me, and see if we could get that approved.
Louise been handling all this.
Yes, yes.
Louise, can you tell the council about KDOT and everything else?
I've got KDOT's letter. I hope she supplied you with one.
It's in the packet.
Okay.
KDOT has approved the street closure. Mr. Lang was very gracious about taking suggestions from street foreman. For modifying the original. Closure boundaries. And so.
As far as the blockage, I know in the past it's been done with that orange fence. I'm not gonna do that. I don't like the way it looks, number one, but I do have arrangements that I'm bringing in panels to do that. I feel like that's just a lot more stable block off than that. And it looks a lot better, so. But yeah, I've got a group that'll put them up and bring them down both at the same day. So.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the street closure permit for Lane's Acre Bar and Grill for 3 p.m. on May 16th until 1:30 a.m. on May 17th, 2026.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Council President Hanson, seconded by Councilmember Renard to approve the street closure permit for Lang's Acre Bar and Grill for 3 p.m. on May 16th until 1:30 a.m. on May 17th, 2026. Any further discussion or questions?
Paul, do we need to put in the same motion, allowing them to be used for alcohol in the?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, that's the other part, thank you.
I would,
We kind of figured that.
Okay, yeah. Common consumption area within that, sorry.
I would suggest having two separate ordinances on that because the street closure in itself is separate from allowing the alcohol consumption in that area because the times might be different. So I don't know. They are gonna be exactly the same, but the times for that could be different. So I would.
Second look at it is there.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and just vote on the street closure on May 16th, 3 p.m. to May 17th of 1:30 a.m. So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, so second motion, when,
To allow that area as a
Common
common
consumption.
consumption area from the hours of,
Three, say.
Same area, yeah, same, out.
your city ordinance allows you at times to do this, so we went through all that last week.
But you brought that up.
And again, it's just a matter of, that way nothing gets left uncovered.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the area in front of Lang's Acre Bar and Grill to be public consumption. On May 17th, May 16th, 16th from 3 p.m. until 1:30 a.m. on May 7th.
I'll second that.
it's been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Renard to approve common consumption for the area outside of Lang's Acre Bar and Grill for 3 p.m. on May 16th until 1:30 on May 17th, 2026. Any discussion, any further questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate you guys, thank you.
Okay, last part of new business. Discuss qualifications and application process for city administrator position.
Madam Mayor and council members, of course, we discussed that I'm temporary and I need to move on, but, I'm waiting time, of course, but, I went out and reached into there, I said stuff earlier to you all, but this basically puts in place that, here's the qualifications, desired, and again, I would tell everybody, I'm careful on qualifications to an extent because, I have a college degree. I've been 37 years in city government. I think I had a pretty good career. And my degree is in animal science. And out of the county extension agent. But yeah, so I put a lot of words in there that there's equivalency involved here, that if you don't have it in education, maybe you have it in practical experience. And I think I brought that when I came in. The salary range that I've put here, at least to start with, is 85 to 105 per year. Your former manager, administrator left was making 100. Of course, you gotta realize when you add all the benefits on there from health insurance package, which, for a family person, the health insurance package is $20,000 package. More than that actually. And then you add all the other things in there as well. So, I think that's a good place. Basically, I have this written that you would start, we go and advertise now, you would start application review in June. So probably interviews in early to mid-July. And again, it might take a period of 2 to 3 months to get somebody here because they have to move and all of their good stuff. So, as I've always said, since the day one, I'll stay as long as you need me. So even now, if you need me to, I mean, that's always been the part I have here that, we have to go with here, but, it's a good time to move on because that would give that person 1.5 years, with this council and the mayor. Elections next year, you don't want to go into the election year because if you go too far into it, then you have people saying, well, I want to wait till who's ever up for election next year. Those people go away because I should pick also, and then it gets real weird and everything else. So I think there's people out there, Hillsborough is hiring right now. Their administrator to the Saline County position. They're out there. You're not gonna get the experiences you have with me. I'm not bragging here, just, because I was making a whole lot more than I am now, but that's not why I came here, and I retired, I was fine with it, so, but I think you'll learn a little dual, and you gotta start, I started out green as a gourd too. Trust me, and in my case, I had a council. I was the first city administrator in Oakley. They had one for like 1.5 years, and then they went 8 years without one. So basically, I'm a new guy coming in. And I had a new city clerk too, because their city clerk unfortunately killed in a car accident. So My city clerk and I started about a month apart and none of us knew anything about city government. And we survived, you know, I had a great 10 years out there, so. So unless there's a problem, ideas, we'll go ahead and start the process and no motions or anything, so.
That's good.
Was it the committee that came up with these bullets?
Me. This was me. The committee of Allen, that was what they called, yeah.
Well, I just want to highlight the last bullet, high ethical standards,
You gotta have it.
gotta have,
Professional integrity,
gotta have.
you know,
It's good.
That's good.
I like it.
sounds good.
Thanks for putting all that together.
Thank you.
All right, department heads, who's left?
Oh, sorry.
Let's go with police chief. Oh, is Ralph back there? Sorry, Ralph. Hi.
I stay incognito.
Yeah. I have to stand.
Do what? Do what?
Did I just get thrown under the bus?
No.
Tyler, good to be our-
Actually, what I'm gonna do is
Trigger on Tyler.
give you an update. I forwarded any emails regarding the aerial. And they do have a vast majority of the work done, as I reported the last time. With the swivel base that was being repaired, it had to be manufactured and they had a lot of trouble attaching the waterway to the swivel base, quite frustrating. I got notification from the service manager on Friday that they had determined what they needed to be done and what part needed to be manufactured, and they would manufacture it. Sad thing it was, he said, well, it'd be 4 to 6 weeks. So I said, you have loan them. But I also had him send me all of the current invoices. And yes, we have incurred something, but the total amount that was approved, we're about within that. But it does look like, unless they're able to expedite it, probably another 4 to 6 weeks out. So I have notified the other 3 cities that are in the regional. We had a chiefs meeting here just a few weeks ago. And so they are aware of it. You know, obviously if we need something, that they'll respond for that, but I wanted to give you an update on that there.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
The other thing that I might want to address, that just came to mind, I fielded several questions. Sheriff's office will call me, and to clarify things or whatnot, but the city of Ellsworth, there is no open burning, and I do not permit any open burning unless it is in designated fire pits. That's the only thing that is there. So the burning of grass, the burning of brush, we have ordinances against the burning of trash. And so I've been contacted numerous times, been contacted the sheriff's office, had an officer go by. I've had conversations with some people do it, and simply did not know. But the only thing, that they call and I say is we just don't do any in the city. There's just too many can of worms, neighbors smoke issue, potential fire, liability on the others, and the answer is no. If it's glass and debris, take it to a landfill. But if it is a designated fire pit, and that can be stone, metal, but it's a designated fire pit, I tell everybody, less than 4 foot in diameter with a screen small enough to put hot dogs and hamburgers on. If you're cooking, burning what on that there, and you could cook on it, it's fine. If you have that and there's flames 4 foot out of it and they get called for us, that's not a fire pit. You are now burning stuff. So anyhow, unless somebody has any other questions, that's all I've got.
What, did you figure anything out on that other truck that got wrecked? If they could fix it?
So, yes, I've had multiple conversations on that. We have applied for a grant on that. We do have, it is actually, hopefully today, it finally got moved over there. He's going to pull a bunch of the stuff off of it and check the frame for alignment and whatnot. We have applied for a grant on that. I think it's pretty optimistic that we will get that. And so our plan is then to fix that truck. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Robert. Patrick's not here, police chief.
Hello. So we are now fully staffed. Every position we have is full. Like I said before, we do have one that's on the injured list. She'll be out for a while, and tomorrow night we'll have 24 hours coverage. Our newest one will be out on his own, being shadowed. But he still will be out on his own. We have one in the academy still, he'll be graduating May 1st. Once he graduates, he'll go into FTO program for at least 2 months. Jeff is our certified FTO, so he'll ride with him for 2 months. And then once he's released, then he'll be shadowed as well. So, but we are fully staffed. And then, of course, when May goes back to work, and then we'll have 3 offers per shift. Then we'll have double coverage, at least until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So.
And Chief Murphy, you've been designated chief for how long? Has it been a month?
Almost 2.
Almost 2 months, and we're fully staffed.
Yes, sir.
And we were lucky to get 2 people that were already certified,
Yes,
which stopped, I mean, it was, timing was everything, everything was lining up, right? So.
Yes.
So they also came here because we had leadership, so I appreciate that.
yeah, one of ours that came, was certified, he came with 4 months. So we had to put him through an FTO program, we did a modified FTO program with him. And he's the one that's just now getting released to be shadowed. So, Jeff rode with him and then determined that he was sufficient to go on his own, so in fact, he's working right now. He's made a couple car stops already, and then he goes out on call, I go with him and make sure that he's.
See, he had been to the academy already, and we did buy his vest from the other city because it was a brand new vest.
Okay.
Like 2 days old.
Okay.
The city could have pushed for us to pay for a training time, they didn't do it.
Right.
And so I was more than happy to buy the vest, just because my thinking on that was, I was gonna buy this for that kind of money anyhow, we were gonna buy it either way. This way it helped the city out, and we keep everybody, we keep good neighbors.
Yes, sounds good.
Absolutely.
Right, he wore 1 shift with him. And brought him to us, so. Brand new vest when we got it, so he's got 5 years in that vest.
Okay.
Good.
So it's not gonna fit anybody down there or. Won't fit anybody up here either right now, so.
It's a good size boy.
He's a big feller.
Okay.
So, any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, Ronnie, got anything else for us? Okay. Anybody for streets? Anything in water sewer left? Delvin, anything else for us?
I don't have nothing else tonight.
Okay. City attorney,
Nothing, Madam Mayor.
city clerk's office. Interim city administrator, what you got? What's on your
Maybe I
list?
have something tonight now, thank you, Madam Mayor. Of course, you know, I give you updates during the last week and legislative updates. There was 2 things happening in the state house, you had the House bill, which changed names a few times. It ended up being called since, CCR for HB 20043, it used to be 2475. As you'll find in the state house, things get weird and towards the end, and they can back stuff. And maybe they ought to have listened to their mom when they were little, saying, get your work done ahead of time, because if you wait till midnight to do it, you don't do a good job. But that doesn't happen down there. So the Senate, of course, have been pushing for a constitutional amendment that it took 2/3 vote of the Senate and the House both to go to the ballot in Kansas, and having passed by a simple majority by the ballot. Later this year, it would have been to put limits on property tax increases. A lot of communities, you've had that here, but some other cities like where I came from, you saw the last few years where after COVID, property valuations of the county going up like 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15%. They wanted to lock it at 3. A lot of people, including myself, were against that because now you start putting in artificial caps. Then when you sell, there's catch up. There's just a lot of issues with that. The House at 2043, CCR for HB 2043, as it is today, it was passed by the House earlier. It got vetoed by the governor, came back, and it's back there again with some improvements. There's still some questions out there on some of the issues, like is bonded indebtedness, GO bonds, are they exempt from this lid? We use general obligation bonds in a lot of cases, and general obligation bonds tend to be at cheaper interest rates than other bonds. Why? Because if the money doesn't get realized, the city has the obligation to raise taxes. because you gotta pay the bond, and somebody lent you money, and they're willing to lend you money, know that they're gonna get it paid back. And that's a big issue right now, that's still working out. The other thing that I think is still unknown yet is, it scares me a little bit, because we're gonna be talking about in the next couple of weeks about our TIF district. And I mentioned a little bit at the last meeting that we have excess TIF funds, and I'll give Kevin here, get a meeting set up with Kevin, that we can start talking about putting those back in our taxes. Everything that TIF district right now, where I'm gonna build, First Bank, yes, thank you, and the chiropractor thing, they're in a TIF district, so they pay property taxes like everybody else in town does. They pay city, county property tax, they pay county property taxes, extension council, and then the school district, they pay those taxes. That tax money goes to the city's TIF fund, which right now we have $1.7 million sitting in there, 1.6 million. And we're gonna have another 90,000 coming here in May probably. And we only have $600,000 notes against us, so there's some things we have to talk about, and we'll work through that. But as that can now be taken, that can be pulled off, there's this question, would that new growth in the amount of money we can get, will that be affected to the 3% level? Which would be tough on us, be really tough. Same thing probably coming off of neighborhood revitalization program. So those are things out there yet. I don't know if the governor will veto it. I think she might, which means there's something this year. The other thing that's bothering cities right now, which this bill is effective date with this year. And the timetable, it made budget just weird this year. I mean, I don't know the timetable yet. Nobody knows for sure. It needs to wait next year. Luckily, I think we'd be in a place that we can survive without an increase this year. So we're gonna be fine. There's a lot of concerns there with the bill. Again, I think they went very end. The other thing I don't like about the bill is if you haven't been, so let's say it's a CPI of 3%. It's the Midwest CPI or 3% growth every year, whatever's less. Let's say you have to have a project this town, you just gotta do something about a bridge or a street or whatever, and you just gotta raise taxes for it. In this town, it'd be 10% of the voters who voted in the last Secretary of State election. I checked with the county clerk today. In 2022, 846 city residents voted for Secretary of State position. So 85 people, 10%, could stop anything. Yet, the other, there's 1,400 registered voters in this community, 3,000 residents. They have no say so. You're all elected by a majority of the votes in the public. They got the appointees up here, but you got elected by the public majority, and I think it just pulls it out because the way that bill is written for people to protest. If I had 3 kids in my house and they were going to college, they're still registered voters in this county, I could probably sign a native bottom. That's 5 people, and I think it's a sloppy system. I think we get the much property tax, no doubt about it. And we're lucky here compared to maybe a Barton County, and again, in my history, there's, I believe, 18 counties in the state of Kansas that have community colleges. If you live in Barton County, you're paying 30 plus mills for community college. And so you are in the different counties that have community colleges. There's a cost there, Ted. I know the new hospital is costing in Elwood. My daughter has a house there. Their taxes went up dramatically because of their new hospital, and USDA has changed their tune on some money because they say the revenues aren't there yet, so you have to raise taxes meanwhile. So, I mean, just a lot, and I get all the taxes, and I pay a lot of them too, and then the whole bit, but it's still worked through there. It's been kind of fun to follow for my account. I've always enjoyed following government bills anyhow, but and tax issues. So 3rd Street Bridge, hopefully we get a quote. I talked to Chad not Troy. The guy from Coal Valley. I know him well. I can't do his name right now, but he should have a estimate price for us, which haven't been reviewed by other engineers. So we should have that real soon. Get a meeting set with the fire districts on the contracts. One fire district, one township, they're gonna finally hold up, but his district too is one person, but he wants me to contact all the township trustees. So, and of course, they're very happy with the rate they paid 40 years ago. They're happy.
Yeah.
And how we're gonna do it, And that, at the same time, though, is they gotta look at the same property tax bill as we have to, and how they're gonna handle that. A lot of stuff's gonna happen, so we may have to find some options there, but we gotta start with it. The one I talked to today, he says, well, I've been waiting for the city for the last 30 years to contact us.
Oh.
Cause we've been 40 years, I mean, you know, and, you know, right now, we spend about $185,000 a year, but $185,000 a year for fire. And you've heard me talk, and I think, Chief wouldn't argue with you that it probably wouldn't hurt the budget another $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. But right now, we only getting $23,000 for the townships. The city taxpayers are paying 8 mils of taxes. 10% of your property taxes are for fire only. Where the other ones are getting it for, you know, pennies on a dollar.
Yeah.
So that's the thing we have to worry about, and work through, and it's a fairness issue and how you do it and move in the future, because we gotta make some more improvements over there. I don't think, there's not an argument there, and I don't think anybody argues that there's not, but again, how do you find the money? So, other than that, I think that's all I have this evening, Eric, in the executive session.
All right, City Council, Councilmember Renard.
I guess we need to look at those ordinances on the houses. We need to change something on that, about a small house on a small lot. We're saying you cannot build there ever again, and that's not right. I don't. We need to get, if that house is so big and you can build that same size house there. There should be some kind of grandfather deal for that, instead of saying, no, you gotta move, you're done. It's not right. I don't think
Except
it's
if you
right.
had a tornado come across,
Well, okay.
and again, you know, that's what we gotta be
So
talking.
then you lose your lot or what?
No, well, you couldn't go back, there's nobody, trust me, if you had a tornado, again, went through this 25 years ago next week. If you lost your house, would you build back the house you have now?
I don't know. It depends how much money I got.
Yeah, how you
If I
got
only
it.
have so much, I might build a little house, who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, but the point is, everybody wanted to get bigger, you know. I have a good story of a guy said, my office after 2020, says, the city's zoning, they just updated the zoning code right before I got there, actually. And he said, I can't build my lot. I said, okay, well, I wanna build a nice home now, this is my last home now.
Yeah.
I wanna build a 3-bedroom. Well, he wanted to build a house that was 30 foot by 70 foot, and I said, are you gonna face the street or your neighbor? He says, I'll face the street, I says, how you gonna put a 70-foot long house on a 50-foot lot?
Well, yeah, you couldn't.
You can't do it.
Well,
So there's probably some exceptions you can do.
I
understand, yeah.
Yeah, I get that part, but the way it's written now is, I don't even have the option to build back to, I get saying you can't build bigger, but the way it's written now, my understanding is you can't even build back.
Because of their
there.
lot size of set.
Yeah, you can't.
Somebody look at it.
Yeah.
And I bet most people in town don't even know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If they're
well,
on
I think
small
there are
lot.
people buying lots that they could build, and then they
Yeah.
find out, and that's their due diligence, they need to
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, what do you mean? No, your lot's not big.
And it was a hard discussion. And like I said, tornado made it really easy because I had a blank drawing board.
Oh, yeah.
And then it got different, and people had to, lots, and it worked out, and I got to know it over. It's something to start.
I think we need to look into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else from you?
No, that's all I got.
Okay, Council President Hanson.
Actually, since we were talking about, like, that house being a dangerous structure, Delvin, where are we at on the one on Blake? It's the Florian house, I think it's Blake and.
That's the one I've talked to Alan about, I'm gonna get bids on it and then bring the bids to you.
Okay, so we're
We
gonna,
we do have some extra money this year.
so we're gonna look at just tearing it down,
Yes,
cause I'm assuming they're not doing anything with it.
no, he still says he's gonna fix it up, but
Okay,
I know that ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
I'm gonna have bids and bring him back to you.
okay, all right, thank you, that's it.
Okay, Councilmember Bishop.
I just want to say I'm on board with Councilmember Renard that, we definitely need to look at something there. A lot of people have purchased these lots with the idea that they would be able to rebuild on them or put new owners wanting to build on them. And right now, we're not getting anything out of them, except to have to chase people down and keep them low all the time. So at least even if it's a small structure, we still be getting some tax. But
Yeah. Good, Councilmember Moon,
Nothing.
Councilmember Allen.
I have nothing to add.
All right, and I don't have anything tonight either. All right, executive session.
And there will not be any action afterwards.
No action.
Oh, if anyone wants to leave.
Anybody want to make a motion?